Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have a newfound gavel that I will give some thanks to Senator Ashton for this morning. And so I'm happy to call our June 2023 Staff Senate meeting to order. We will begin with calling the roll. Senator Gansler. Senator Cato, I know she could not be with us, and Senator Crow also out at a conference. Senator Daniels.
Present.
Senator Gilbert.
Present.
Senator Hopwood.
Yes, sir.
Senator Inglis.
Present.
Senator Johnson.
Present.
Senator Jones.
Present.
Senator Moran.
Present.
Senator Pritchard. Senator Purdy. Senator Robertson.
Present.
Senator Salmon.
Present.
Senator Thomas. Senator Vanderpool.
Present.
Senator Vincent is out on vacation, and Senator Waller. Next, I would like to approve the agenda for this meeting. If there are no objections, then I'd like to consider approved by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, we'll consider the agenda for today's meeting approved. Next, we will move to approve the prior monthly meeting minutes. Likewise, I'd like to approve that by unanimous consent, unless there are any objections. Thank you. We will consider those meeting minutes approved. Next, we will move to the presentation of our Christopher Ware Staff Star Awards. Senator Johnson.
Our first Christopher Ware Staff Star Award goes to Michael Moore. This is some comments from his nominator. Michael goes above and beyond to support everyone at WKU libraries, our faculty, staff, and patrons. Beyond that, his ability, he's an absolute joy to work with. Michael plays a huge role in success, from ensuring that our labs, classrooms run smoothly to technical issues through security gates and computers. Michael is always cheerful to help on the most frustrating of technical days. If there's a problem and he cannot solve, he works tirelessly to find a solution, and he does it with complete patience. I cannot speak highly enough of his work ethic and attitude. I'm so thankful that I get to work with him. For me, he's the example of what a staff star should be. These are some words from a supervisor. Michael is a joy to work with. He's very responsible and is willing to take the time to listen to everyone's needs in a thoughtful manner. Michael stays on task and always keeping the objective of the mission and the project. However, he's open to new opportunities that are presented in the project and willing to roll with the bumps in the road. Michael is dependable and proactive, frequently going above and beyond. He cares. He cares about his job, the WKU libraries, and WKU. I'm grateful for his can-do attitude that he brings each and every day. Michael is most deserving of this award, and we are so very proud of him. And also here today to speak is the Dean of Libraries.
Okay, I'll go. Everybody always says, my voice is loud enough, and we all know it never is, so. Lori, you want to join me? Yes. I've got this. Okay. Thanks for comments were my comments, so I'll own up to those. I was thinking that coming over this morning, and what is one word I would use for my girl? And this is a little unconventional, but the one word I came up with was Gucci. If you've ever worked with Michael, you'll know everything is Gucci. It's all good. And so that's my one word for Michael. Because he is Gucci, and we are so proud of his work in the libraries. We're so proud of the support from ITS and Lori and Masako. It truly is a team collaboration, and without Michael, the library simply couldn't function. So thank you, Michael, for all you do. As I said, you are most deserving of this, and we're just so proud. Lori, you want to come down for the photo?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next staff, Christopher Ware Staff Star Award goes to Chris Harmon, and Lindsey Jones will be reading his remarks.
So in my time as a staff senator, and I've seen all the recipients of the Staff Star Awards, over and over in my mind, just being president of my department, Chris Harmon has exemplified what it takes to receive a Staff Star Award. I'm not much for one for words, and his supervisor is also gonna read something, but this is what I wrote about Chris Harmon. Chris Harmon is the heartbeat of our endpoint support department. He is always willing to do the work to get the job done. He leads with heart, witty jokes, and a good attitude. He embodies the standard of consistency. Chris is always willing to educate our student workers, get his hands dirty with other coworkers, and fix anything he can that comes in broken. He is wise and friendly. Chris Harmon definitely deserves the Staff Star Award. James.
It's with great enthusiasm that I support the selection of Chris Harmon for the Christopher Ware Staff Star Award. We'll get there right here in a minute. He is a terrific example of what this award exemplifies. Chris has faithfully served the Information Technology Services Unit at WKU for over 26 years. During this period, he has worn several hats while providing top-tier technology support for various faculty, staff, and students at WKU. Over the years, Chris has successfully networked with many folks across the WKU spectrum to the point where he is a well-known and respected member of the WKU family. He stays engaged with several WKU events throughout the year and enjoys attending sporting events with his family. Chris provides a dynamic to the daily work environment that simply cannot be duplicated. In many ways, he is the fabric and foundation on which our unit is built upon. He is someone who strives to include everyone in team building events. He is the one that helps those when no one else will. Periodically, Chris will lead by example and not realize he's doing so. People notice and rally behind him. Chris is extremely witty and often brings laughter and smiles to all of us. Some of the greatest laughs I've ever enjoyed have been a direct product of his banter. Simply stated, our area would be significantly less effective and productive without his experience and guidance. At his core, Chris is a family man with a servant's heart. While he loves and is devoted to WKU, he would tell you his most significant achievement would be becoming a father to 3 boys and a loving husband to his wife, LaDonna. Although he may not realize it, Chris is an inspirational force to so many people. He never rests on his laurels, but continues to press on to better himself and his fellow man. On a personal note, I've learned a great deal from Chris. He has had a profound impact upon my life, and I consider it a true blessing and privilege not only to call him a colleague, but my friend.
All right, right here. There you go.
Y'all hang on just a second. Hang on.
Our final Christopher Ware Staff Star Award will be given to Letitia Britt. Letitia Britt passed away last month after a battle of cancer. She worked here at WKU for nearly 12 years and was a devoted employee. She started as an office associate in kinesiology in 2011 and was promoted to office coordinator in 2014. During that time, she received her master's degree in athletic administration and coaching and taught in the sports management program as a part-time faculty member. She had an uplifting attitude and a positive impact on her colleagues, students, and everyone she met. She will truly be missed. And I can say on a personal note that I knew her, and she was always a person that when she walked in a room, she would light up the room. She always did everything with a smile, and she was one of the first to jump up and say, how can I help? What needs to be done? I'd like to invite her supervisor to say a few words. So we'll go ahead and present the award then. And her family is here today. Mom and her daughter, her aunt and her son. Come up and take a picture.
Next on our agenda, we will move into the reports of officers, committee reports, and the staff region report. We will begin with Regent Burnley.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Perfect. I apologize for not being there in person. But it doesn't matter why. So we had a special called board meeting, and adjacent to that was a regular committee meeting. In the committee meetings, these took place on June the 2nd. I joined those remotely, as did three other regents, due to the nature of all of our absences from Bowling Green. The action items in academic affairs had mostly to do with we approved the suspension of Russian and Eastern European Studies minor. We approved an undergraduate certificate in teaching English to speakers of other languages. We approved an undergraduate certificate in strategies for trauma-informed approaches to improving resilience. And we approved some emeritus recommendations and an undergraduate certificate in professional and technical writing. These were all presented. There was some limited discussion. There wasn't a lot. There was really no dissension in terms of that. In the Finance and Budget Committee, we approved personnel actions as a standard practice that the board does almost at every meeting now. And we approved an internal audit work plan. All of us are very excited about our internal auditor and feel like he is an outstanding addition to the university staff, and look forward to the evolution of that position and the position of the person that is going to be added to work with him. So as Bruce presented both to the staff senate and others, Mr. Weissman is an extremely valuable member of the team, and I look forward to him moving forward. We had an executive closed session. There wasn't really anything in Student Affairs Committee. We had an executive committee meeting that included a closed session, and those are typically brought to discuss either pending or ongoing litigation involving the university. There was a healthy discussion there, and no actions were taken. The other thing that happened that day was the special budget meeting. So we ended that meeting and went into a budget approval meeting. There was a fair amount of discussion related to the budget, and there was one dissenting vote. Cole Borenson, on his way out, did what he thought was right and voted against the budget. In that budget, the highlights are that we will ask for a 3% tuition increase, and there will be a 2% pool for salary increases effective in January. This is an ongoing commitment that the president seems to be determined to make every year, and we want to be supportive of that. In the financial end of it, I believe that if the enrollment target is met and all the other things are equal, we should have no problem as fiduciaries making sure that the university uses that money and we don't find ourselves in a difficult situation like, say, some of our other state universities. So I'm confident that it's a very fiscally responsible budget. It's about $6.5 million higher than the previous fiscal year. And I had no problem. The CPE has had no problem approving the tuition increase based on the high level of inflation. I think 3% is reasonable. Also, the CPE has capped us at a 5% increase over the next 2 years. So taking 3% this year, I think is a good move versus next year. We will have our third quarterly meeting and retreat over the course of August 10th and 11th. And that's my report. I will be happy to take any questions, though, regarding anything that I've talked about or that you all have questions about.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate you.
Next is communications to Senator.
She
No
did
report.
no report.
Next, Treasurer, Senator Purdy.
For the E&G index, the starting and ending balance is $1,462.40. The Staff Senate Excellence Fund, the starting balance was $1,851.62 and had additions of $36.70 with an ending balance of $1,880.32. And the book scholarship, the starting balance was $1,579.84. And additions are $40, making the ending balance $1,619.84.
Thank you. Next, Senator Gilbert. No report. Senator Johnson,
No report.
Vice Chair, Senator Basham.
Very, very quickly, for the workforce committee, just want to thank the members of that committee for their work this year. Everybody understands there's a lot of effort that goes into the workforce committee. Clearly, that is what we're here for, right? Take care of the workforce. So we took on a lot of topics, had a lot of discussion. We're able to make a little headway and look forward to the new Senate continuing the good work. Then also to follow up on Regent Brinkley's report, the 2% pool that the board approved. The BC has already begun the work on discussions and will continue that work and make a decision in the fall on what the structure of that pool will be. That will take effect January 1st. So that's one of the first things that will be on the slate for the new Senate as well, is input on that process. Thank you.
Next, for the chair report, I don't have much new to report this month. My meeting with the president was canceled in May, so I did not have that meeting with him. We do not have one scheduled yet for June, but I'll likely reach out to him with Senate turning over and transitioning to at least have an introduction meeting potentially with the chair of the Senate for fiscal year 24. With that too, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I've had the opportunity to be on Senate for 3 years and I am not rolling over. I did not run for re-election. I'm not rolling over. So I just want to say thank you. It was great being able to serve with you all. And I'm very excited to see what this next Senate brings. with that, the only other update I have is the staff senate survey results. We have received a draft of that. I will be sending those out to all of the current senators once we have a couple of revisions done on that. I'm going to send that to Regent Brinkley. I will send a draft to university leadership as well, so they can make sure that they don't identify any errors or any points that might need further investigation. And then we will release those results. So you should expect those to come out, be probably one of the first things that may be able to come out of the next Senate. And we, of course, always publish those results. We make a commitment that the comment section of the survey, we make a commitment when we post that survey that those comments will always remain anonymous, so that they aren't, there's no potential that anyone could be identified by the feedback that they provide. So those are not published out there in the public format that we put on our website of the survey results, but the survey results themselves, the aggregated results, those will always be posted to our website. So as soon as that is available, we'll make that posted to the website as well. So with that, we will move into the next section on the agenda, which is old business. There was no old business on our agenda. Is anyone aware of any old business that we have missed? All right, with that, we will move into new business. And although there are not items on the agenda, I think there's at least one for sure that we need to cover, potentially two.
I'd like to recommend that, I'd like to make a motion that the Senate approves spending up to $250 on our lunch today. The mechanism for that, I have our department's T&E card, and we'll be able to do a hard code to the Senate account for it to keep it nice and simple. Last year, we spent about $200, so I feel that $250 will keep us under that limit. And then, since I'm hoping to make this as one item, then to use the rest of the funds for this FY for the Senate's allocation. Use that for staff Senate red towels that we utilize for things that the Senate would decide to use them for in the next year in the future. In the executive committee, we discussed using the university seal as part of that to make it a really special towel, and that was approved by university marketing. So that would be what we utilize the remainder of our funds on. So motion to fund our lunch and to fund the purchase of red towels.
So there's been a motion. Is there a second? There's been a motion and a second. This is official new business, so this is open for debate, as any motion would be. So are there any questions, any comments they would like to provide on the topic? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move into voting on the motion. So all those in favor, well, actually, I will do this one by, I'd like to accept it by unanimous consent, hearing no objections. All right, hearing no objections, we'll consider that motion to be approved. So thank you for that, Senator Basham. Are there any other new business items? All right, next we will move into the public comment section of our meeting. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment? Hearing none. Announcements wise, usually we have at the bottom of our agenda the next staff senate meetings out there. You'll notice that is not there as we are about to transition to the next senate. So immediately following this meeting, I would ask everyone that is currently on Senate and the new senators if you'll kind of remain in the room. We would like to do just a quick recognition of all of those senators who are serving this year that are not continuing on as senators next year, and do a quick recognition of their service. And then we will move into the beginnings of that kickoff meeting for transitioning to the next Senate. So there are no other announcements. Then I will get to use the gavel one more time, one last time. All right, we are adjourned.